Vigil, Ante, and the Vigilante Antics by BelleAmant. Read by Oakshadow 5. Chapter 22. Cryptic Creators. UA Academy is a prestigious school of wonder and difficulties alike. Its students are well aware of the plus ultra nature of the school, from the demanding academics, vigorous departments focused on greatness, and the pro-hero teachers that give their all and expect the same from their classes. UA is the best of the best after all, and as such is renowned for its greatness. But lately, the students have become aware of an anomaly in the school. Something odd that caught the attention of one student, then another, and so on and so forth, until dozens of students were left with confusion and questions. At first, nobody noticed. UA is a large school after all, with hundreds of kids in a single year. With so many students roaming the halls, it only makes sense that, in the same way that some will become stars who shine brightly among the rest, there will also be those who fade into the background. After all, for there to be a number one, there must also be someone below. Those with quirks that do not compare to those that are greater, those who do not have the intellect to create great plans on the spot, or create wonderful things for the future. It's simply how life goes. Not everyone can stand out. But there's one thing that most do not understand. A student at UA is not forgotten. Even if they are in the background, there's always one other person who will see them, even if they do not recall said person's name, or even their quirk. No, it is impossible for a UA student to be unrecognized by every single student. And that is where things became abnormal, because nobody at UA recognized the two boys that seemed to appear at will, and kept appearing. Sightings are infrequent and not quite predictable. The first time was seemingly unimportant. Two boys walked into the cafeteria, bought food, and walked back out. Nobody really saw them, and if they did, they didn't bat an eye. And then, the very next day, it happened again. 5 minutes later, but one kid stopped and looked at them. And then that student asked, "Hey, who are they? They're not in uniform." Indeed, they were not. They both wore jeans and plain tops, nothing like the school uniform that every other student wore. "Maybe they're visitors?" a girl nearby asked. "I've never seen them around." "Maybe they're new," a boy suggested. "I mean, it's really late in the year, but it's not that odd." The few that noticed the boys said nothing more, assuming that the question would answer itself, or fade away into unimportance. The boys kept appearing, and then whispers started to rise. Rumors began to spread. "I think they're first years," a second year stated. "I saw them in President Mike Sensei's room before school started." "They're not in my class," a general ed kid rebuked. "Mike Sensei is my homeroom teacher, and they weren't there." "Well, of course they weren't," another shouted, slamming their hands on the table. "Because I saw them in Paoloda Sensei's labs." "Well, they sure aren't a support student, because that's my department," someone yelled back. "I saw them in Aizawa Sensei's room. They must be hero students." "Please, the entire class was expelled. The only kids that are still there came from Gen Ed. I think we'd notice if Aizawa Sensei brought 2 more in." "Okay, but can I point out that they were following Midnight Sensei around before school started on Monday?" "I saw them slip into the teacher's lounge on my way to class." "I saw them sneak out of the lounge when I went to the bathroom." With every passing day, the students of UA find themselves more and more curious as to who the boys are, and just what they are doing in the school. No one can pinpoint anything about them. Their grade is unknown, their department isn't even set in stone, and the teachers say nothing when questioned. "Are we sure they actually exist?" a girl asked one day, shaking in her seat. "Maybe they're like ghost haunting the school." The rumor picks up speed quickly, a possible explanation for the things that cannot be explained. The UA Cryptids become more popular with every sighting, and more mysterious with every disappearance. Nobody speaks to the boys, not out of a lack of trying, but rather because the boys appear when nobody expects them to, and vanish the moment a student tries to approach them. Some have tried following them on the way out of the cafeteria, but no matter how many corners they look behind, the boys are never there. Nobody is quite sure where they go off to, although there are reports of tools whirring when the labs are off limit, and the sound of footsteps racing through the blocked-off gyms when only normal classes are in session. Yes, the students of UA aren't sure of many things about the two boys, but they know that something is amiss. As the school year lets out and the short spring break begins, the remaining students hope that they will learn more about the cryptids when the new year begins. Down in the lab, two boys work, together but separate. Izuku sits at a work table, eyes focused on the pieces of metal that is screwing together, careful not to bend the plate that connects them. Only a few yards away, Hitoshi pores over messy blueprints, studying every little note before turning around and connecting a few pieces together. They work without speaking, just like usual. The only sounds in the cluttered room coming from the scraping of metal on metal, or the occasional tap of a foot. And then, a buzzing noise fills the air. It's gone as soon as it begins, but it's enough to disrupt Izuku. The green-haired boy looks up, careful not to drop the bits he's working on as he picks up his new phone. When he's silent for too long, Hitoshi speaks up. "What is it?" the violet boy asks, and Izuku sighs. "Eraser wants us back in an hour," Izuku explains, eyes glancing at the short text once again. "But we've only been out for, 3 hours at this point?" Hitoshi points out, and Izuku shrugs. "School nights, I guess," Izuku offers. "Break ends today, after all." "Don't remind me," Hitoshi mutters, and Izuku snorts. "Come on, it'll be fine," Izuku promises, but Hitoshi clearly doesn't believe him. He doesn't believe himself either, but that's fine. "We haven't actually gone to school since daycare," Hitoshi points out. "And Izu, I don't think daycare really counts." "It's fine," Izuku waves off, pocketing his phone after sending back a quick, "Okay." "We have each other, so it's not like we'll be on our own again. Eraser said we're both in his class after all." And wow, does that feel like a dream to acknowledge. Izuku and Hitoshi being taught by a pro hero in the hero school. If only reality didn't make it feel like it'd quickly become a nightmare. "Come on," Hitoshi murmurs, knocking Izuku back out of his head. Izuku feels like Hitoshi has to do that more and more with every passing day. Not that it's always a bad thing. "We've probably got 40 minutes before we need to start heading back. Think we can finish the endoskeleton by then?" Yes. The endoskeleton. Izuku glances down, looking at the metal rods and plates that are connected, forming a decent copy of a human skeletal system. It's the first step that needs to be completed, in order to proceed with the rest of the vessel. "We just need to connect the upper and lower half," Izuku points out. "I bet we can do it in 30. They manage it in 25, and get back to the house with 5 minutes until curfew. Izuku and Hitoshi slip up into the shared room, avoiding the guardians and falling asleep not long after. Izuku dreams of nothing that night. Oh my fucking god, they're building the endoskeleton for Inko, for the Inko robot? Why is that plot point still there? I hate it! But anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 22 of Vigil, Ante and the Vigilante Antics, and I see you all next time. Bye!